What are some of my comic books in my personal collection? Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the comics that I consider to be part of my personal or permanent collection, like a term that a lot of people use, like their PC, and talk about the reasons maybe why they're part of my permanent collection and my collecting habits. Let's jump right in and take a look at some of the comic books from the 1970s, specifically Marvel comic books from the 1970s that are part of my personal collection. So I like to keep my books in alphanumeric order, although I will group them from different eras. I did mention 1970s, but there will be some 1960s books in here as well too. So let's start with Amazing Adventures number 1. I do like collecting first issues, especially from the 1970s. I used to have more issues in this run, but I've only kept the issues that I really like. This is issue number 5, and this also has Neil Adams' artwork. He did a short run in Amazing Adventures, specifically the Inhuman stories. This is number 6, and he also did artwork for issues numbers 7 and number 8. And I often felt that with Neil Adams' work, the Amazing Adventures Inhumans run is honestly some of his cheapest stuff that you can find. In very high grade, they can still command a bit of a price, but compared to his other work from the 60s and 70s, these certainly feel cheaper. He did the covers as well as the interior work. Well, half covers and half interior. So that may explain why some of this may be a little cheaper, but it's a great little run by Neil Adams. I also have a copy of Amazing Adventures number 11, which is the first appearance of the Beast, the furry Beast. And originally he was black, but they changed him to blue. And one of the reasons why I understand is because it's harder to color and draw a character that is black versus different colors. It also doesn't look quite right in inside pages. I find it always kind of interesting that this used to be the same price, or around the same price as Marvel Spotlight number 5, but they have since diverged quite a bit. This is a copy of Amazing Adventures number 18. It's the first appearance of Killraven, as well as Neil Adams' artwork. I do have some Silver Age Spider-Man, not many, and I'll pick them up when I find it's a good opportunity to buy. So this copy of number 22, the reason why I bought it was because I thought it was a really good price. It's also the first appearance of Princess Python. It's a mid-grade copy, but it's got really nice colors. And Amazing Spider-Man is, one of the most highly collected comic book runs. Will always kind of be popular with collectors. Here's a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 48 and 49, and these are kind of special to me as well because these are some of the earliest issues that I ever read when I first started reading comic books, and so they are pretty special to me. I also have a copy of number 71 that also features a great cover by John Romita Sr. With an appearance of Quicksilver. I recently read X Factor number 87, which kind of explains why Quicksilver has a bad temperament, and I think it's brilliant. It explains it in 2 pages, and honestly, it's one of the best explanations why. You should really search it out and read it. That's X Factor number 87. I like keeping really nice copies of high-grade Bronze Age books when I can. This is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 113. It's also the first appearance of Hammerhead. It's hard for me to kind of part with really nice examples of Bronze Age books. I really like the cover of Amazing Spider-Man 144. One of my favorite covers from the Bronze Age by Gil Kane. The leg showing Gwen Stacy, not the real Gwen Stacy, has always been a favorite of mine. This is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man Annual 4, and the reason why I kept it is because it's a really nice copy featuring Spider-Man and the Human Torch, and it has all new stories. I do like these square-bound, giant-sized formats, and that's the reason why I kept it. ARG number 1, which is a humor title from the 1970s. The first issue is not that hard to find, but the later issues in this run in high grade are pretty tough. This is a copy of Astonishing Tales number 1, similar to Amazing Adventures, it's a split title featuring Kazar and Doctor Doom. And I also have a copy of number 8, which is also a giant size square bound book, which I like to collect. This is a copy of number 11, which features the origin of Kazar and Zabu, and a really nice sharp copy, as well as a copy of number 12, which has now become pricey because it's the first comic book appearance of Man-Thing, and it's also really tough and grade because of the black cover on the spine. A really nice copy. Like this one's like a 9.4 plus. So yeah, I do like keeping really nice high-grade copies of Bronze Age books in my collection. This is, I believe, the first cover appearance of Man-Thing, issue number 13. Not the greatest cover in the world, but, it's still the first cover appearance. This is Astonishing Tales number 23, the first issue of It the Living Colossus, who originally appeared in Tales of Suspense. And issue number 22. The series didn't last very long, but they did have some great covers. Number 23 has a fantastic cover, and by Gil Kane, who did a ton of covers. This is Avengers number 67, and this I kept because it's one of the first comic books I ever bought off a wall at a comic book store, like decades ago, and I think I even still remember the price. It was like $8 or $9, but it was really high grade, which was, even when I bought it, kind of tough to locate. It's got a great Ultron cover by Sal Buscema, and that's another reason why I kept it, just because I love the cover. It's a great Ultron cover. This is a copy of Avengers number 96 with superb Neil Adams artwork, the very famous Kree-Skrull War. This is a copy of number 98, which has a great 3-issue story arc, finishing off in number 100. A copy of Battlestar Galactica number 1. I like collecting number 1s. Nothing special about it, but it's in my collection. This is Beware number 1, and it is an earlier Marvel horror reprint title. It's got a moon in the background, also with a date stamp. These mostly had reprints. Some of the other earlier horror titles did not, but these were pretty much all reprints. A copy of number 2, number 5, a copy of number 6, number 7, and the last issue in this run is Beware number 8. I believe it changed to Tomb of Darkness after this. But I do really like these horror reprint titles from Marvel in the 70s. They don't have a lot of value, but they are popular with collectors because of the genre, and they're very tough in high grade. I tend to just look for high grade copies when I can find them, but they have becoming increasingly difficult to locate in high grade, and I prefer to buy them in person when I can, so that just makes it that much more difficult to locate these reprint titles these days. This is a copy of Black Goliath number 1, a short-lived title that lasted 5 issues in the 70s. This is Captain America 100. I don't think it needs much introduction. It's one of the 1968 first issues. I still need a couple more to complete my 1968 ones, but Silver Surfer 1 and Iron Man 1, I don't know when I'm going to buy those. They're so expensive. Captain America 110, like an awesome Jim Steranko issue and a great cover. I did a video spotlight on Mr. Steranko a while ago. This is issue number 112 with a great Kirby cover. And again, the reason why I kept that is because it's in really nice condition. Captain America 200. Jack Kirby starts again in 193, but I like anniversary issues, so I'm keeping that. Captain Marvel number 1, and this is a title that I started collecting because in middle school there was a comic book store close to my school, and they had a large portion of the run issues after number 34 for literally like cover price or less.
So I bought a lot of the issues in the run, and I became a Captain Marvel collector. The best issues in this run, though, are the Jim Starlin issues, starting with number 25. And in number 26 um, begins the Thanos saga, where he is searching for the Cosmic Cube. And this is one of my favorite series of all time. And it is the original Thanos story. So in number 26, you can see he appears in the cover. And in number 27 also has, I think, the first full appearance of Star Fox and his father Mentor. But they do appear in Iron Man number 55, but they actually have, I think, like purple skin in that issue. A copy of number 28, as you can see Thanos in the background. And you can really see Jim Starlin's improvement with his pencils every issue. This is issue number 30, where Captain Marvel fights the Controller. And then issue number 31, which as well is one of my favorite covers because it features so many characters in the background, all the Avengers and Star Fox and Drax the Destroyer. I think just a wonderful cover for Captain Marvel number 31. In issue number 32, which also features the origin of Drax the Destroyer. A wonderful issue. And capping off the Thanos saga is number 33 with an awesome cover which prominently shows Thanos just incredibly like a frightening version of Thanos, which this is like one of my favorite covers too. Thanos in his prime. Jim Starlin's last issue, where he would do the full pencils, is number 34. He did a few pages in number 36, but this also is the first appearance of Nitro. And the significance of this issue as well too is Captain Marvel would be exposed to gas, which would eventually give him cancer. This is Captain Savage number 1, and this was the first 1968 first issue. So a nice copy of that, although not as popular as the other first issues. This is The Cat number 1, and it's got some pretty good artwork by Wally Wood. I believe he does the inks. I have the complete run of The Cat, which is 4 issues, and this series is one of my more prized possessions for me, just because it's a tough series to locate in high grade, and I really have a nice run of this. It's also an important series in that Marvel was employing uh, women writers to write this, and I think part of it was to try to get some of the female readership back into comic books, which was nosediving at this time. There was a period of time where like girls and women made up closer to 50% of all the comic book readership, but it took a nosedive later in the 60s and into the 70s. So I think this was Marvel's attempt to try to recapture back some of that readership. Unfortunately, their experiment, their plans, just it didn't work out. The titles that they produced only lasted a few issues, and I do plan on doing an episode of that in the future. Chamber of Chills is a longer running Marvel title that mostly reprinted their horror titles from the 50s and 60s, and it's issue number 2, number issue number 4 with a great Frank Brunner cover, one of the best cover artists from the 1970s in my opinion, as well as a copy of number 5 and number 7. And again, as I mentioned before, these are pretty tough in high grade, so I still look out for these, but they have started to become a little more pricier when you're looking out for them. Issue number 10, and a great Easter Island cover with issue number 11. Chamber of Chills was originally a Harvey title in the 1950s, so I'm not really sure how Marvel got the rights for this title. Here's a copy of number 12 with the Ice Monster. Issue number 13. Issue number 14. issue number 16, which features the Black Death, which Edgar Allan Poe slight adaptation. Issue number 17, issue number 18, and issue number 19, which I like to joke about that I own a copy of Chamber of Chills number 19, because the original Harvey title number 19 is a pre-code key with a wonderful cover, but very expensive. Chamber of Chills number 20, and Chamber of Chills number 23, which is the last issue. And typically the later issues of these runs are more difficult to locate, especially in high grade. And some of the later issues they're very difficult to find in any grade. This is my run of Chamber of Darkness. This is the first issue, and along with Tower of Shadows, this was Marvel's attempt to come back into the horror genre. This is number 2, and this is number 4, which has a great cover, but more importantly, it also has a Conan tryout story by Barry Windsor Smith. And all intents and purposes, it really is a Conan story. He's a dead ringer for the character that he would pencil. Issue number 5 with a great Kirby cover. This is issue number 6. Issue number 7 with a wonderful Bernie Wrightson cover, and he also penciled a story on the inside, his first work at Marvel. He also did the cover for number 8, the last issue in the run. And this is also the special number 1, which reprints the cover of the first issue. This is Combat Kelly number 1, a short-lived war title from Marvel in the 1970s, a really nice copy, and this had original stories. This was also a title in the 50s published by Atlas, and this is a copy of number 6. I used to have more of this run. I think I picked up number 6 more recently. I no longer have the other issues. This is Conan number 1, one of the best Marvel titles to come out of the 1970s. Certainly one of the most popular with collectors because of the art and writing. Barry Windsor Smith and Roy Thomas. And the first 24 issues had a lot of Barry Windsor Smith artwork. There were some issues he didn't pencil all the issues. Back when this first series came out, they were very expensive relative to other comic books or other back issues at that time. It's issue number 2 and issue number 3, which they say had a low distribution, but I've never found that issue to be that hard to locate. Issue number 5, issue numbers 9, and number 10. I do have a few holes in the issue. You probably noticed I take my time collecting these. They're more of an opportunity buy whenever I see them. Issues number 11 and number 13. Issue number 16 that has a great cover by Barry Windsor Smith. Issue number 17 and number 18, he actually didn't do the pencils for, but number 17 is a very difficult issue to locate in high grade because of the black cover. And a copy of number 19. And I actually have 2 copies of this, and it's, one of these things with collectors that when they come across stuff that they like, they will occasionally pick up an extra copy, especially if the price is right. And this was just one of the cases. So, yep, I have 2 copies of number 19. So I think 16 was supposed to be his last issue, but then because there were 2 fill-in issues with number 17 and number 18, and then he returned with number 19. This is a copy of number 21, and you can see on the cover it's got actually an Academy Award winner little sticker on it. A copy of number 22. And then a copy of number 23, the first appearance of Red Sonja. And finishing off his run with artwork, a copy of number 24, which is a fantastic story and one of the best issues in the run. And I would highly recommend searching that out to read it. Well, actually, that entire run, the 24 issues, is just superb. John Buscema would come and work starting with number 25, and his run is, exceptional as well too. I also have a copy of number 35, which is also another one of my favorite covers in the run. This one's by Gil Kane, I believe, and a copy of number 37, which is done by Neil Adams. So the only issue that Neil Adams would work on with Conan, but it's a great issue. This is a copy of Crazy number 1, and these are essentially reprints of Marvel 60s title Not Brand Ek. And this only lasted 3 issues, and it's pretty tough series in my opinion to locate in high grade. This is a copy of Creatures on the Loose number 12. The first issue actually has the first appearance of King Kull, and it would then switch into reprint mode, and some of the reprint issues are kind of hard to locate in nice shape. But these were reprints of the 60s and 50s Marvel monster titles like Tales to Astonish, Tales of Suspense, and Strange Tales. Some of the mid-issues also have wonderful covers by Jim Steranko, and the later issues would then, starting with number 30, would feature a run with Manwolf, who originally appeared in Amazing Spider-Man. And that's issue number 30, and this is issue number 31. And I believe it lasted up to number 34, and then the story was finished off in another comic book series. This is my run of Crypt of Shadows. It's another reprint horror title from the 1970s. And again, these are pretty tough to locate in high grade. I have a pretty big gap in this run, missing issues like 2 to 9. But a lot of these issues also reprint the original covers from the 1950s horror atlas titles, like Uncanny Tales. Oh, I love this cover, number 12, which features looking out of a skull. Again, these are tough in high grade, so that's kind of why I like to look out and collect these.
Over the years, my personal collection has, changed quite a bit, but what I've been finding more recently is that the books that I'm keeping have mostly stayed like fairly stable. I haven't really been selling very many books or trading them for quite a while now. And whether that's just I've grown some more attachment to it, I'm not really sure. I can't really explain why, but for now, it's like I'm really enjoying keeping these books. And some of it has to do with the video content that I've been making over the past year. I've just kind of grown a little more attached to these comic books now that I've been talking about them and creating this content. Until next time, read and enjoy your comic books.